Onegashimasu. Welcome to the Goju Ryu Karate Center. We're busy planning and preparing for black belt grading. The bunkai we're doing tonight is for the kata Shisochin. It is a very basic, very elementary set of bunkai, nothing advanced. Shisochin kata is black belt shodan entry-level kata in our school, and as such what we're looking for when you are executing the kata is a simple ability for the grading candidate to answer the question, do you understand the basic tenets of the kata? Are you getting through the kata, or are you performing a dance that you don't understand the individual movements? Obviously, what is typical in most karate is that the actual kata has got a lot more depth to it. And as you get more and more into it, you'll get more and more into the depth. At this point, I'd like to address a question that was brought up on one of our previous videos that brings in the difference between applied versus grading or versus kihon. In my dojo, I try and teach as much kihon first, as much fundamentals and foundation points, and that relates directly to our movement, our stepping basics, our prearranged and prescribed movements that we do. But I'm a bit of a rebel, and so I've also taken a lot of prescribed movements, and I've also started to adapt them to a certain degree to incorporate applied principles and use that as a stepping stone into an applied world. I'm not by no means a specialist in applied karate. I like to delve into it to enhance my personal karate and maybe to enhance my students' karate so that they understand the realities of the world when they walk outside. But I do think it's a good idea to have foundation and then to have your prescribed stuff, which allows you to grade and do things like that in a natural, easy way, and then to allow people to progress and to transition into applied work. And you can do that from children, low grade, all the way to advanced at your discretion. I think the only disclaimer I would put forward for this section of work and how soon you start applied is bear in mind what the legalities are and what you're teaching to younger people. It is very important for them to know that they are allowed to block and they're allowed to defend themselves and they're able to take it. But it's not cool when kids have broken teeth and funny looking nose, because in the dojo it has happened in an uncontrolled fashion. So therein lies the great challenge in doing full contact and applied work minus equipment. And I'm talking guys who work without gloves, without headgear, without mouth shields. You're running a risk. So rather put the safety measures in place and work effectively with your students. Do a little bit of research as to what the effect of impact will be on them. Hope this answers the question. I think it's for Mark. All right, let me get on with the kata. Hey. So, opening move, double hand block, knife hand attack. It's repeated 3 times. Okay, so in this movement, I would work on the idea that if my opponent is stepping and is attacking, I'm going to break the line, I'm going to move off the line, probably going to block with one hand, strike with the other hand. I don't believe that I'm physically strong enough to strike straight into hard portions of the body, so I like moving to the outside, possibly striking the neck. The other alternatives are to move to the inside, strike to the neck, strike to the groin. These targets generally work. Okay, so if I was going 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, I'm bringing in our trusty Uke. Brian, come this way around behind the camera. And Brian is here to help me. Please excuse me if it gets a little muffled. We do have to work with a mask. Hey, shimasu. Right leg back, kamae. Punch chudan. 1, 2. Left side, kamae. 1, 2. Okay, very basic, very simple. Right, make a good long stance, okay? 1. Better option. 2. Okay. So, 1, 2. The movement itself does not have a hard attack behind it and is often one of the breaking techniques, very similar to the concepts you see in many Goju schools where they're breaking out of a double-handed grab. Okay, so one of the ideas, the hidden ideas that people don't see or don't come across is the idea of this helping push the person's arm and affecting their elbow joints. Okay, and then breaking free. So slightly different breaking method from sinking in Seiunshin, and now we're going to float. Okay, so the idea is the person is double hand grabbing on. You're going to slide your hands underneath, lift up, possibly take 1 or 2 steps forward, bring your hands back, peel their arms off, break out, knee kick, or front kick. Okay? Obviously, I can move into the next movement of the kata, but we're not going to go there just yet. We're going to keep it simple. Okay. Brian is going to grab on, mind the mic. Grab on with 2 hands. 1. I'm going to bring my hands underneath his elbows, lift up, press forward, bring back, break free, knee kick. Okay? He grabs on. Want to press up, moving back, break free, knee kick. Okay? Obviously, there are a lot of other good ideas if he does grab on, and I mentioned this in the Seiunshin video, that if a person grabs on with 2 hands, they're more than likely going to knee you or headbutt you, and you should actually consider those secondary attacks that are coming before you concentrate solely on the breaking out technique. This, however, is useful to practice against a double-handed grab because at some other point, should somebody use one hand and you can slip a hand in and still defend with the other hand, you're in a good place in terms of applied karate. Okay? We find ourselves at the end of the double break, stepping through 45 degrees, double block, hikyuke with preparation, rotation. Okay? So I'm going to do it at a different angle. So if I step 45, blocking with this hand, striking down with this hand, hikyuke, other hand up. When I rotate, I'd like this hand to come back this way, please. School's way. This is another school's way. So OGKK way this way, please. And hand up and head on shoulder. From my time at the Jundokan Dojo, the inclination was for the arm to be at a slight angle, and that is to help propel your opponent towards the floor. Basic idea in the bunkai, I'm going to step to the inside of their attack. It'll be a chudan attack. I'm going to intercept the chudan attack with the chudan portion, and I'm going to strike the groin. So I'm going to be blocking, striking simultaneously as I'm moving forward. I'm going to cut the distance in half and use the pivot here. I'm then going to fish out their punch and control it, bring it around, and I'm going to bring my foot through and I'm going to step through this way, and then I'm going to pull and crank. Okay, and this is typically what I teach as a bunkai. It works for me. There are breakdowns of it that are simpler, but then I do one bunkai for 2 movements. Right, ishimasu. Right leg back kamai. He punches chudan. I move, I intercept, strike the groin, redirect, grab on, step through, and pull. Okay? The hand on the side, this position, again, always affecting the wrist. If you're just doing this, you're attacking only his arm and his elbow. The moment you bend this wrist, it's his wrist, his elbow, his shoulder. It's critical to try and keep your posture and affect their posture. Okay? There are 4 movements like this in the kata. Please challenge yourself. If you're a senior exponent of karate, 4 different bunkai. It's good for you, good for your brain. Much more than 4 bunkai, 4 variations. Okay, so you're here, slide up, buttocks in, tighten hands, punch. And the move that comes after, double strike. I'm going to link the two together because where this bunkai comes from and the idea that I have, I'm not 100% comfortable. Let's be honest with everybody that I'm not comfortable doing this and saying the person is behind me and this is enough, either an elbow or a punch. I know repeated elbows or repeated punches might affect change, but I do think that the stepping and the turning is going to do a lot more. So my idea, I'm going to do it from the side, is that as I step up, attack is going to come from behind. I'm going to put a hand in, I'm going to pull and try and lift. I'm going to use this to create space so that as I turn, this hand can help pull down one of the arms and pull it past my body, and this hand is going to go onto the head and hyperextend the neck. So this hand is effectively going down to the leg, pulling the arm one way, pulling the body with it, and this hand is going 45 degrees in the other direction, stretching the neck, elongating the vertebra, and untoppling your opponent. Okay? The obvious hard strike is good, but in the kata showing the control on the movement. Okay? So for this next bunkai, hopefully you've got to be vigilant of the mic, please, Brian, and let's have a look and see how this works. Attack from behind, double hand grab, around. So 1. You're going to push your arms forward to try and make a little bit of space and get a hand in. You just need to get a hand in. To facilitate, I'm turning sideways so that you can see on the camera. To facilitate, there's always this gluteus strike. Okay, this is this part here. Now, I obviously do not want my hand this way because you're going to choke me out. I want my hand on the inside. Okay, I want to pump him with a few elbows. And then I want to step, turn, drop, hyperextend, and pull. So this hand is pulling back, and the more, I can never bring it to my thigh. All right, if I do that, something's going to pop. Okay, but the more I can do this, this, and this. This is what I'm looking for. This is often done against a punch or a kick. The 4 strikes, so we're working against 4 strikes. And you can move to the inside or the outside. A lot of people like the inside for this. They like to pull that leg and they want to get a nice clear line down the person's center line to attack. So with that in mind, the person is attacking right leg, my area, I might move, block, and shift in. I might need to create a little bit of space there. Some people like the idea of going straight forward. I find if my opponent is very big, much larger than me, I'm going to struggle with the blocking motion and trying to clear their front kick with my arm. It's much easier to make a little bit of space, clear their leg, let it go past. This is just here for insurance and possibly to grab on and strike. Okay, so I might clear and strike. Right leg back, kamae. So it's a front kick, 1, 2. Ready, left side please. 1, 2. Please exhibit a lot of control. You can also grab on if you wish. It'll look slightly different because you'll be holding the leg and striking. Show you, your hand comes down, hooks on, similar to Saifa kata. Hey. So right leg back, kamae, he kicks, 1, 2. Left leg kamae, he kicks, 1 and 2. Okay. Okay. We move on, block, kick, elbow. All right, so this is hopefully where I can let a few tasty morsels of what I consider good ideas out, and ideas that I've been thinking about for a while, and that is the importance of gravity and the importance of stepping down after the kick with the elbow strike and using that in a multiple elbow strike attack. That if you watch the kata should not be visible, but if you understand the kata, it's blatantly obvious, I think. But I might just be a little bit crazy. So, hikyuke, the attack is coming, moving to the inside, block, and again, just shifting like you do most of the time. Sanchin dachi, you may need to make a little bit of space, kick, land, elbow upward, and as you settle into your stance and you pull back with this hand, drop downward. Okay, so you're going to pull back with this hand against their arm that's up, their guard hand. If you can grab an arm, why not? Grab on, pull, and strike. All right? You may also change the attack to a kick, land, punch. So you might be moving out the way, blocking, or moving out the way, just catching their hand. All right? But grab on, and the reason you're grabbing on is to pull. And I'm going to be doing this to the inside, so I've got to be vigilant of the other side attacks. Okay? So when I move 45 degrees, grabbing on, making a little bit of space, kicking, landing, upward elbow, energy up. As I settle in my stance, energy down, pulling and pressing down, using my stance and that heaviness that comes with it. Okay? Similar to a movement that's going to come up a little bit later in the kata. So, let's go. He punches Chidan. I move to the inside. I block. I grab on. I make space. One. Upward. Downward. And ready. Left side attack. Attacks Chidan. 1, 2. Upward. Downward. This hand, pull. And again, that pulling action here and here. Okay? So up, down. You can change the height. Okay? And it makes a lot more sense if I show you against, let's say, the chin. Hi, come back, please, Brian. So he punches. 1, 2, up, down, and ready. Attack left side. 1, kick him in the groin. He's going to come forward, up, down, and controlling. Hey, thank you. So, the mask. Up, down, the subtlety. We do that twice in the kata, so we've covered left and right sides. Then cross the body and elbow. Block, up, down. Like I said earlier, you're going to come across it somewhere at some point. And the idea behind this is block, elbow. Block, elbow. Whichever way your sensei does it, that's what you focus on. If they focus upward, then you do upward. If they focus downward, they do downward. If they push their hand through and then pull up, then put your hand through, grab, reach, tug the gi pants once, and say, well, you know, my hand's going here, you know what I'm doing. All right, so let's go through it again. So right side attack. I'm going to block and break the line. I'm going to move to the outside. That's this covering. I'm going to step in, cover. I might attack with my leg and down with my elbow or up with my elbow. If I'm reaching in, grabbing and yanking, or grabbing and yanking. All right? But if I'm on this side, I'm using this, and this. Then upward. If I am dealing with a grab from the front or being caught somewhere in pommeling, I might use this elbow, very similar to this idea where my hands might be on my head and my elbow pressing down, clearing an arm, clearing something around my face, pushing this elbow down. Just a morsel for my friends who do something a little bit more practical. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Next 2 movements in the kata. We're changing direction, dropping into nekwasidachi, cat stance, and we're opening our hands. Okay? And the idea of this is somebody's grabbing onto your hands, creating some space, some leverage, pulling free, breaking free. And there is very much nothing after that, so it's up to you to either add something or to move to the next movement in the kata. So what I would normally say is somebody grabs on, lift up, step in, break free, press down, and do an hurricane. Keep it plain and simple, but if you're a little bit more senior and you're building into the kata a little bit more, then the idea of lift up, break free, clear the arms, striking the neck makes a lot more sense because it's the next movement in the kata. Okay, he grabs 2 hands. I might do this, pull back, down, break free, clear the arm, attack the throat. When I do this, I want to pull his arm and attack the throat. Okay, one more time, simpler version, 1, 2, 3, 4. See this hard downward motion to literally clear his arm, and as this comes down, so does the hurricane. 1. Okay? I can also work on the idea of 1 arm, 2 arms, or 3 arms. 1, like this. Also an option for you. Hey. We go through the 4 directions again, double block, and then we get to 1 more over the shoulder punches, and then 1 times this. So over the shoulder punch, treat it the same as the previous one. Over the shoulder, if you want to clear the attack and strike the throat, or press the head and strike the groin, this is really good. And if you want to deal with this at the end of the kata on its own, then we adopt something very similar to the application that we have in Shisochin kata, where we have this double block. Okay, so the idea that we're going to be working on is an attack, a two-down attack, maybe moving to the inside, striking to the groin. Okay, moving, striking to the groin. The footwork is a little bit tricky if you want it to be exactly like the kata, because you might pull one foot and press the other foot. If you're going to press this foot, use it to your advantage. Okay? So, let's go. Let's see what I do. Hey, smash. So, right leg punch. 1, 2, 3. Attack the groin, block. Keep it simple. Okay. Should he block the technique, well, then we can work towards what the ending of the kata is for. Clear an arm, move a hand, and attack. Okay, so 1 more time. 1. Should he block? Just clear his arms. Can do something. Okay. There's a reason for this to neglected, but it does exist. Hi. Arigatou gozaimasu. So if you finish here, just on block, strike the groin, this is okay. Especially for shodan, maybe nidan grading. I hope this video is useful and informative. I know every now and then I take a little tangent, and I hope that you get something from it. It's pretty much been a roller coaster road to get to here. We'd like to thank everybody for liking, subscribing, and commenting on our videos on YouTube. At this point, as I'm standing in front of the camera, we're about 95% of the way to completing the second hurdle in monetization for all the YouTube boffins out there. We've got more than 1,000 subscribers, and we're now rapidly approaching our 4,000 watch hours. And I never thought we'd get there. So I'm extremely grateful to everybody who's contributed in the comments, the likes, the subscriptions, the thumbs up to our videos. I know we've still got lots of work to cover, lots of karate to capture and put out there and make available to the world. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu. Sayonara. Good night.
So, just as an addendum to what Shay has said on the video, and to also offer my thank yous to you. So, we started this YouTube channel in May last year as it was a lockdown thing, and we had time to kill. And we wanted to have something for our students as an easily accessible resource, as well as a way to maybe market our dojo and grow so we could survive the student loss we knew we would have over the course of 6-7 months of lockdown. And as much as COVID has been a really terrible thing, if one good thing has come out of it for our dojo, it's been this YouTube channel, because we have the best karate commenters and fans from across the world: Germany, France, the Philippines, the USA, Brazil. We are so honored and so happy to have you as part of our greater karate dojo, to share what we know with you. We also believe that we stand on the shoulders of giants, and it's important to share with the karate community what we have taken from others. We all share, and when we share so freely, martial arts survives and thrives. And I just want to say thank you to you for the comments you leave, the time you take to watch our videos all the way to the end. I can tell who watches to the end because you read all my little silly subtitles I throw throughout during the editing process, because I enjoy the editing. I wish I had more time for it, and I'm still building up my skills. I'm using Filmora, which is actually pretty good, pretty user intuitive, but I'm rambling. If you're watching this, thank you so much. Balancing mom life, sensei life, editing life, YouTube life. It's all worth it for our karate friends around the world. Thank you so much, and we look forward to walking this path with you for a long, long time.